If you are in your 30s, you are likely making the most expensive financial mistake of your life right now, and it has absolutely nothing to do with buying too much stuff. It is not about taking a bad vacation, racking up a massive dinner bill, or even making a dumb investment in a stock your friend recommended. The biggest money mistake in your 30s is completely invisible. It is wasting time while quietly telling yourself you still have plenty of it. In your 20s, financial mistakes are just a rite of passage. You drain your bank account, you bounce back, you start over. But in your 30s, the rules of the game change entirely. Delay becomes incredibly expensive. Every single year you wait right now costs you exponentially more than you think. What you do today, in this exact decade, will dictate your 40s, 50s, and beyond, far more than you realize. Welcome back to Grow with Tony. I am Tony, and today we are tearing down the illusion of wealth in your 30s. I am going to show you exactly how to avoid this massive trap and give you a 5-step framework to bulletproof your finances later in this episode. Just a quick reminder before we dive in, this podcast is for educational purposes and is not formal financial advice. Let's get straight to the core of the issue. The absolute biggest money trap in your 30s is confusing stability with actual progress. We live in a society that teaches us to look at the surface. You pay your bills on time. You have a nice apartment. You have all the streaming subscriptions. And a decent wardrobe. From the outside, your life looks perfectly fine. But just because your bills are paid does not mean your wealth is growing. This specific mistake is dangerous because it feels completely harmless. It does not look dramatic. Nobody loses their house overnight. Instead, it hides in plain sight behind one incredibly dangerous, deceptive phrase. I guarantee you have said this phrase yourself. I still have time. Or maybe you use its cousins. I will start investing when I make just a little bit more money. Or, I am just trying to get settled first. When you ask the average person what they think the biggest financial mistake is, they point to the obvious. Maxing out credit cards, buying a luxury car way too early, or general lifestyle inflation. Yes, those things matter. Yes, they will keep you broke. But those are visible mistakes. If you have $10,000 in credit card debt, the statement comes in the mail and screams at you to fix it. The invisible mistake, the slow, quiet daily decision to postpone building your wealth, does not send you a warning letter. It just silently drains your future. You have to truly understand why sitting on the sidelines is so punishingly expensive. Money needs time far more than it needs perfection. I talk to so many people who think they need to be a financial genius to start building wealth. They are waiting for the perfect real estate deal or the ultimate stock pick. But wealth is rarely built by sheer brilliance. It is built by boring, relentless consistency. When you start late, you create an immense, crushing pressure on your future self. You force yourself to save aggressively right when your life expenses, like a mortgage or kids, are at their absolute highest. Worse, it gives you zero room for error. If you start at 30 and make a mistake, you recover. If you wait until 45 to take your money seriously and hit a bump in the road, you have no safety net. You are not just losing out on compound interest. You are losing years of momentum. So, how does this invisible mistake actually show up in everyday life? If it is invisible, how do you know if you are doing it? Usually, it takes one of 3 forms. First, it is waiting for the perfect economic moment. You tell yourself the market is too high, or you are waiting for an election to pass, or you are waiting for a crash to buy at the bottom. Meanwhile, years go by, and inflation eats your cash. Second, it is the income trap. You delay retirement contributions because you feel like $50 a month won't make a difference. But the second you get a $10,000 raise, you instantly lease a nicer car for $600 a month. The raise vanishes before it ever builds your net worth. And third, it is the comfort trap. Staying in a comfortable, mediocre-paying job for way too long out of pure inertia, leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars in lifetime earning potential on the table simply because your coworkers are nice. People do not fail financially because of one catastrophic error. They fail because they slowly drift into weaker outcomes through years of minor hesitations. Which brings us to a tough question. Why do incredibly smart, capable people still fall into this trap? It happens because your 30s are a strange, exhausting decade. You are working hard, you are tired at the end of the day, and you look around at your peers. They are doing the exact same things you are, so you naturally assume you are doing fine. You keep postponing decisive action because the status quo feels acceptable. But beneath that, there are massive emotional drivers. The paralyzing fear of making the wrong move. The fear of giving up the lifestyle you think you have finally earned. And Let's be honest, the deep desire to look successful to the outside world long before you actually become financially secure behind closed doors. Avoiding a financial choice is still a choice, and in the game of wealth, avoiding the choice is choosing to lose. This is what I call the trap of false stability. We have been conditioned to believe that a steady paycheck is the same thing as building assets. It is not. Being happily employed is not the same thing as increasing your financial leverage. Looking financially fine on social media is very different from being financially strong in your bank accounts. I see people making six figures who are terrifyingly fragile. They have the beautiful downtown apartment and the curated vacations to Europe. But if they stopped working tomorrow, they could not survive for 3 months. Stability without ownership is an illusion. If you do not own assets, you are just renting your lifestyle from your employer. This matters right now because your 30s are the ultimate bottleneck of your life. This is the exact window where the magic of compounding interest, the acceleration of your career, and the crushing weight of adult responsibilities all collide. Think about it. This is the decade of major career pivots, the decade of marriage, of having children, which completely rewrites your budget. It is the decade of buying a home. Your financial obligations skyrocket. If you build a strong financial system early in your 30s, these massive life changes are manageable. A new baby is a joy, not a financial crisis. But if you delay your wealth building, every single major life event feels infinitely heavier. You are trying to build the airplane while you are already flying it. And the real cost of this mistake goes far beyond the math. It affects your fundamental freedom. When you waste your 30s financially, you end up staying in jobs you absolutely hate, purely because you need that specific paycheck to cover your bloated lifestyle. You cannot take career risks. You cannot start a company. You feel trapped by obligations that would feel completely light if you had a strong financial backing. A lack of money dictates where you live, who you spend your time with, and what you are forced to tolerate. So, how do we stop the bleeding? How do we fix this before your 40s arrive? First, shift your mindset. The goal is not perfection. The goal is forward momentum. Start before you feel fully ready, because you will never feel fully ready. You must consciously prioritize ownership over appearance. Here is the exact 5-step action framework to get you back on track right now. Step 1. Know your baseline. You cannot manage what you do not measure. Look at the raw numbers of your spending, your savings, your debt, and your assets, even if looking at them scares you. Step 2. Automate your investing. This is the single greatest wealth-building trick in existence. Remove human hesitation entirely. Set it up so a percentage of your paycheck is automatically transferred into your investments before you ever see it. Treat it like a mandatory tax to your future self. Step 3. Protect your cash flow. Avoid locking yourself into expensive fixed costs. A massive car payment or way too much house will suffocate your ability to build wealth. Step 4. Grow your income. There is a limit to how much you can cut from your budget, but no limit to what you can earn. Negotiate your salary. Build high-value skills. Increasing your shovel size makes digging for gold much easier. Step 5. Build assets early. Start immediately, even if the amount feels ridiculously small. $50 a week matters, because time is still on your side, and time does the heavy lifting. The earlier the machine starts running, the less sheer sacrifice you will need in your 40s. Society wants you to think your 30s are the decade to look rich. I am telling you, your 30s are the decade to become hard to break. Looking successful is temporary. Building resilience creates generational freedom. Real wealth is almost never flashy, it looks boring, it looks disciplined, and at first, it is largely invisible. Before we wrap up, let's lock in exactly what you learned today. You discovered that the silent killer of wealth in your 30s is hesitation, not overspending. You now know the critical difference between looking financially stable and actually making progress by owning assets. You have seen how delaying your financial foundation turns normal life milestones into massive stressors. And you now have a clear 5-step framework: knowing your numbers, automating investments, keeping fixed costs low, growing income, and buying assets to build true freedom instead of a fake successful appearance. The biggest money mistake in your 30s is not one reckless purchase. It is staying entirely passive while your most valuable asset, your time, slips through your fingers. You do not need to become a financial guru overnight. But you absolutely do need to stop telling yourself that you can always start later. Because later is eventually going to run out. The single most expensive illusion you can hold on to right now is that your time is unlimited. Start today. I want to hear from you. What financial wake-up call hit you the hardest in your 30s? Do you think the real problem is overspending? Or do you agree that delaying action is the silent killer? Let me know down in the comments. I read every single one of them. Remember, building wealth is not about being perfect. It is about starting today and staying consistent. We are on this journey together. Drop a like on this video if it brought you value, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on more psychology-driven money content. Also, comment below and tell me exactly what topic you want me to cover next. Until next time, keep growing.